Hey guys, what's up? It's Merc here for Bullshit Games, and today I want to kind of talk to you about Infinity. That's right, we finally got around to playing our first game of Infinity, and I want to give you my impressions of it. The Lich Lord is a little bit MIA for probably the next week. He's sort of working out of town, so I'm sure when he gets a chance, he will give you guys kind of his feelings and views on Infinity, the game we played. Now, I'm going to say this, the game we played was nothing spectacular. It was a total of 3 models per side, using the quick start rules. And it was... Sorry, that was my phone. And Infinity, that's where I was. Basically, it was my Nomads versus his Ariadna. I had kind of wanted to use my painted Aleph, but I figured it would be a closer match with closer abilities if I use my Nomads versus his Ariadna, because they're both in the starter, the first rulebook. They're not from the expansion. So it was 3 Alguacils versus 3 Line Cossacks. Since we were running just quick start rules, we didn't do anything with lieutenants. I know that's a big part of the game, but we were just trying to wrap our head around like the order mechanic, the shooting, the reaction, arrows. So we didn't run lieutenant. We could have. Any of the line models that we ran could have been lieutenants, but we didn't fuss around with it. We played on half of our table, which I think ends up being a 4x5 foot table. Yeah, I think that's the dimensions. And we packed it with terrain, which, sadly enough, that was probably the majority of the 40k terrain we have, which that really illustrated to me the difference in the levels of terrain you need in Infinity compared to 40k. But this isn't comparing the game, so we're not going to go into too much into that. The one thing, I noticed right off the bat that my Alguacils and his Line Cossacks were very, very similar. And I'm going to assume that that's probably true across most of the board, excluding the advanced, the combined army, and Aleph, because I think their basic line troopers are a little bit more special. I know my attack bots for Aleph have mimetism, which gives them another -3 to be hit, which I'll get into how awesome I think that'll be later. But my Alguacils, they didn't have any special abilities. Their ballistic skill, I believe, 11, armor 1, I think. Hold on, I have an army list right here. Yeah, armor 1. So they were pretty similar to the only thing that was different was my guys had combi rifles. These guys had regular rifles, which really only made a difference in the 16 to 24 inch range band. He was at -3, I was at 0, plus or minus. That was the only real difference. There wasn't a whole lot of shooting outside of the 16 to 24 inch range either, because we packed the table with terrain. The order system, I think, is great. It really lets you kind of decide what is the most important thing for you to do, and then what model really needs to go where. Now, I'm sure if we were playing, even with the full starters, where as Nomads I would have a Securita, a Mobile Brigada, and I believe a Naga, or a 0. Hold on. A 0. I would have a 0. I think even then, I know people talk about cheerleading, which is basically your line troopers just giving up orders to your more important guys, which I could see that happening as you get a little bit higher in points and you start customizing your force a little bit more. But as it stands, with just playing the starter sets, I feel that everybody's going to have some kind of a role to play. Didn't really have any Ramboing going on in the little game we played, which might, again, be because we just used 3 line guys each. What I did find is you spend a lot of time, it's not so much like, I don't know how to explain it. I found it more for me, it was about, I was trying to maneuver my guys into positions where they could control areas, where they had vision enough that they could, lanes of fire. And if one of the Lich Lord's guys came into my line of fire, I could light him up with an arrow. To me, it became about, control, like area control. It was less about like running up and smashing my opponent or just lazily setting back. It was about maneuvering and trying to make sure that I had the proper, lines of fire, zones of fire to watch and make, limit his advance. And he was trying to do the same thing, limit my advance, limit where I could go. Elevation in the game is pretty helpful. I found that out. If you guys are up higher and you can see over more terrain, it's great. You can control, like I said, control more areas of fire. When it comes to shooting, shooting is it's simple to pick up. I mean, it's some basic math and boom, you're good to go. The one thing that we didn't really understand, and I'm just going to throw this as a general question out there to you guys that play Infinity or know about the game. In an arrow, when you react to the first order that your opponent's model is taken, I found a lot of times I was reacting to his movement, and then his second arrow was to shoot. Now, I know he couldn't shoot me because his action that I was reacting to was a move. But in the quick start rules, and even flipping through the rulebook quick, what I couldn't find is what kind of roll we really needed to make there. To me, what we ended up doing was just normal rolls, where I just had to roll, and when he shot me, where either of us, if we shot at each other an arrow, and the order we were reacting to was a movement action, we just rolled to see if we hit, and there was no face-to-face roll. Now, I was reading dodge, and I think maybe we were doing it wrong. I think maybe there was supposed to be a dodge. Like, I think the active player who was being reacted to and being shot at maybe should have got a dodge, so it would have been a face-to-face roll with their physique versus the shooter's ballistic skill. Not 100% sure, like I said, it was our first game. That's why I'm posting that question to you guys. And the question is, if your arrow is to shoot at an opponent's active model whose first order was to move, do you engage in a face-to-face roll with you using your ballistic skill for shooting and the active model using their physique for dodge? Or do you roll a normal roll and just see if you hit normally? That's my question for you guys. If you know the answer, let us know. We'd appreciate it. It'd be great. The other thing I want to say how cover is huge in this game. I mean, cover is really big. Being in cover, giving you a -3 to be hit and a +3 to your armor, huge. And what I was saying earlier, I'm kind of glad I didn't use my Aleph right off the bat, because when you stop to think about it, attack bots have mimetism, which makes them -3 to hit to begin with. Then if they're in cover, that's another -3, so they're -6 to hit. And then you know, like against his Ariadna, who at 16 to 24 inches get another -3 on their guns. At 16 to 24 inches, that would make attack bot in cover a -9 to hit, which is pretty crazy. So another thing I like about this game is the fact that there's modifiers for range. You know, they don't just... It's not just, you know, okay, well, this gun can only shoot so far, or whatever, and there's no bonuses for shooting closer and no minuses for shooting farther away. You know, there's actually like, oh, this handgun does good at point-blank range, and then you have a minus here, and then, or like, you know, your combi rifle is good up until this range, and then there's a minus, and then there's a bigger minus. I like that. I like to hit modifiers. I think I don't know, it's just a simple mechanic that helps to reflect the decreased accuracy of a firearm at long range. Arrows. I think that the reaction, any game that has a reaction system, I love. Now, we've talked about dystopian legions on here, where you don't get a reaction, but the setup of that game is, you know, you move a unit, your opponent moves a unit. You move a unit, your opponent moves a unit. You know, it's one of those things. Actually, I think I might be wrong for Dystopian Legions. I know Dystopian Wars is that way. Again, I've only played Dystopian Legions one time, but I think that's the way it works. I think. Could be wrong. If I'm wrong, all of our Spartan fans out there, you correct me, because I don't like to be wrong. But anyway, you know, getting that one order reaction against an opponent is big. Granted, most of the time you're only firing one shot from your gun, so it's not huge. You're not like laying down a withering hail of gunfire, but you're doing something, and you don't even have to shoot really. You can dodge, you can move. We didn't have hackers on the board, but you know, there's hacking comes into the game, which I think that's, you know, I can't wait to explore that aspect of it. Part of the reason I picked up Nomads, I really want to get into like using remotes and hacking and cool things like that. Also, speaking of my Nomads, after playing our first little game here, I really want a Sin Eater Observant. I'm hoping I'm probably going to get one with a machine gun. I've read some people say the one with the multi-sniper rifle is better, but just the fact that I can have a model that'll put down a burst 4 shot in the reaction phase is a huge to me, because that's, you know, you plunk him in a good spot with a good line of fire and you can control that area pretty good, because you can put down a burst 4 against anybody that comes in there, which I like that. I have a feeling that I'm probably going to be playing Denial a lot in this game, which I think that's a great option, you know, to have. Overall, in the end of the game, it was very close run. It came down to each of us having one model left, and I got the final shot off in a reaction, and I put down his last line Cossack. But, you know, that was the game, and it was awesome. Both the Lich Lord and myself were very excited after we got done. We're looking forward to playing it again. I think next time we play it, we're going to use Nomads and Ariadna once again, and I think we're going to use our full starters. So we're going to include models with a bit more special rules, models with a few more, with like different guns, skills, things like that. Just, you know, shake it up a little bit more. And I can't wait. It's one of those games. Dystopian Legions was like this, and Infinity has been like this, where I played my first game, and it was just so awesome. I can't wait to play it again. And it's very, I don't know, sometimes it's hard to find a new game like that, where you play your first game of it, and you just can't wait to play it again. Because some games, the rules make it a little challenging to really get stuck in the first time. Like Starship Troopers was that way. When I first got that game, the rules were a little clunky. I don't think Uncharted Seas was that way. No, because when we got Uncharted Seas, we played like 4 games in one night. So, you know. But yeah, overall, I'm really glad that I got into Infinity. I can't wait to play it more here in the office with the Lich Lord. I know another guy in our group is talking about picking up the Pano Sectoral starter for the Knights. And if he does that with the 2 starter sets, well, the 4 starter sets that the Lich Lord and I have between ourselves, we'll be able to get the other guys in our gaming group into it. I think the rules will be easy enough that they'll want to play. So, looking forward to that. Hopefully, we'll be bringing you some battle reports when we get a chance with painted minis. We're working on getting our Infinity stuff painted, and our Dystopian Legions and Dystopian Wars stuff. But it's all coming down the pipeline. Overall, coming back to Infinity, I think it's going to be awesome. I really wish that I'd picked it up sooner. I kind of wish instead of spending some of the money I have spent over the years on GW products, I would have been spending them on Infinity, because it's a damn fine game. So far, that's 2 games we've picked up and tried that we've really been happy with: Dystopian Legions and Infinity. The last game on our list of games to maybe pick up a starter set and a rulebook for and give a shot is Malifaux. I'm waiting for the newest edition of the rules to come out, because I have the old rulebook, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, I got confused. I got confused reading through that rulebook. I know some of you guys out there that watch us play kind of exclusively Malifaux. Either one of those. I don't know which one is right. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. But I'm hoping maybe when the 2nd edition rulebook comes out, the rules will be a little bit clearer. But that's a game that's kind of on the cards for us to check out. And if I could find a website that sells the rules for it, there's actually a historical game that I'd kind of like to get involved with, which is Muskets and Tomahawks. But every time I've searched for that on Amazon, it doesn't want to give me the rulebook. It just gives me books about the Revolutionary period in American history, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I want the rulebook so that I can know how the game plays. But anyway, that's it for me. I just wanted to let you guys know that we did finally play Infinity. Kind of at least what I thought about it. That I thought it was a really enjoyable game, and I can't wait to play it again. And yeah, and kind of just let you know, like I said, like what we thought of it all together. If you guys, like I said, I did ask that question about the arrow in the video. If you have an answer to that, leave us a comment, video response. That would be great. Clear it up for us so I know what we're doing wrong, because I'm sure we're doing something wrong. And that's it. If you have any stories you want to share about your experiences with Infinity, or what we're doing here, if you like it, if you don't like it, if you have a comment on what we could do better, please feel free to leave us a comment in the comment section. Likes always help. Makes us feel good. Brightens our day when we come onto YouTube and we check our channel and we see that somebody has given us the thumbs up. If you're checking us out for the first time and you like what we're doing here, give us a subscribe. That's another one of those things that always makes us smile when we see a new subscriber. And we try to sub you back, so we kind of, you help promote us a little bit, we help promote you. It's the way we work here at Poolshed Games. And that's going to be it for this video. Like I said, thumbs up for Infinity, and we'll see you next time here on Poolshed Games.